So let's talk about James Harden a little bit. Because, of course, there's nothing happening in the NBA, and I'm not getting 2K20, at least not right now. So let's do something I don't do a lot, which is kind of like get into legacy conversations with great players. Maybe I should do this a little bit more. But, James Harden, I think, is a very interesting guy for this sort of discussion, because when Harden retires, he's going to be very high on a lot of stats. Assists, points, three-pointers made. The numbers will suggest that Harden was one of the best offensive players ever. And to be fair, he is going to be thought of like that, but is there going to be this belief that Harden was still a disappointment? And to look at that, you mainly look at the postseason, where if you go year by year with Harden, there's a lot of playoff series in there where I think you could argue his team should have won or should have at least put up a much better fight. And it was actually a little deeper than I remembered it being, looking at Basketball Reference year to year. But the ones that come off the top of my head immediately are, this previous conference finals or semifinals against the Warriors with no Kevin Durant. And, okay, the Warriors still brought it, and we should credit them for that one, no doubt. But that team was in a prime position to be beaten off of a great performance by Harden. Now, at the same time, when you actually dive into Harden's numbers in that Game 5 and Game 6, they're not horrifically bad. I mean, I remember there was one of those games, I don't remember which one it was, but one of them he had a really bad last 5 minutes. It was like a turnover, bad shot. I do remember that happening. And you could argue, in the Game 6, which the Warriors beat them in, he was bad from the free throw line and whatever else. It's not a horrifically bad disaster, but given KD's injury, you do think you would have liked to have seen a guy who is going to have the numbers that Harden is going to finish with all time to just kind of not even give Golden State a chance. Whether that means having some 45-point performance or whatever, but at the same time, is it unfair to ask that of Harden? That's the kind of thing that you maybe only see from LeBron or Michael Jordan, pretty much. Or another one being Dwayne Wade in the finals against the Mavericks. I don't know, is it too much to ask for? It might not be, given, the insane regular season that Harden had a year ago, when you just see that talent and put in that specific situation. I don't know. But the thing is, if that was the only playoff series that we could have that conversation about, then I don't think the perception around Harden being a disappointment would really exist. But there have been other instances of this. The other one to think of, and this one is not excusable in any way, is the loss to the Spurs in Houston with no Kawhi. And this is the game, and not just this game, but this series in general. This is the one where, when you take everything else Harden did, you can have conversations about, okay, maybe, maybe not. This one is a slam dunk, what the hell was that? And, again, when you combine it with a lot of other, that's kind of an iffy finish to the season, then this one it's a bit tougher to swallow. I mean, it'd be another thing if Harden then went on to win a couple championships after this year, which, to be fair, he could still do. But, you know what I'm getting at. And it wasn't just that game, but it was also that series in general where the Spurs threw a different defensive thing at the Rockets, and it really freaked them out. It freaked out James Harden kind of a lot. And, I mean, credit to the Spurs for doing that, but you'd like to think with a guy that's that good, you wouldn't be able to slow him down that much by basically just daring him to shoot mid-range jump shots in pick and rolls. Granted, it was not just that. It was also very smart, ice defense and trapping and cutting off passing lanes. But still, if you're going to be, again, what your stats suggest you should be, you'd like to think Harden could still get through that series. Especially, again, in a Game 6 in Houston with no Kawhi Leonard. And crazy enough, if we look at 2018 against the Warriors, when CP got injured, I think that series is interesting as well. I mean, of course, the easy thing is to say, well, if Chris Paul doesn't get hurt, then they win that series, which, I mean, I don't know. I think if we're playing the injuries card, I think Iguodala's injury is swept under the rug there, because the Warriors were forced to play, like, Kevon Looney and Jordan Bell way too many damn minutes. And maybe that helps Harden's case, maybe it doesn't, I don't really know. But his efficiency in that series, I mean, I don't know, 54% true shooting, maybe that's good enough, I don't know. But that Game 7, obviously they missed a million three-pointers, yeah, I know. And it's not Harden's fault if Ariza goes 0 for 9, Eric Gordon goes 2 for 12. Totally fair. Harden himself went 2 for 13. And a lot of them were him settling for step-back threes. And I know that's his thing, but I do think at a certain point you have to kind of realize the moment and just be like, okay, we're missing threes, the Warriors are building momentum, I gotta shoot like 17 free throws this game or something, right? Which I think is fair to expect for James Harden. And then, you know, it brings into another thing about, is he overworked in the regular seasons, and does he care too much about his stats, and does D'Antoni put too much weight on his shoulders? Like, that's all fair, but I don't think it excuses him either. Now, is it possible that I'm being too tough on the guy? Yeah, totally. But I do think with Harden, it's this feeling of like, he's amazing until it's time to really be amazing, and then he drops down to great to just really good. And in one specific instance, downright terrible. And it's not just the fact that his teams lose. I mean, like, to make the LeBron comparison, clearly I'm Team LeBron for anybody who knows anything about me. And one of the reasons is because, like, even when LeBron's teams lose in the playoffs, I feel like LeBron pushed them to as far as they possibly could go, and in some instances pushed them far beyond where they should have ended up going. Except for 2010 against the Celtics, 2011 against the Mavs, just to cover my bases. But, you know, there are many other years in LeBron's career. I've never really gotten that impression with Harden. I mean, we could even go as early back as to like 2014 or 13 or whatever it was, that round one series against the Blazers where Dame beat him on that buzzer beater. Like, if James Harden is truly this great all-time player, you'd figure they win that series, especially because Dwight Howard was still pretty damn good at that time. He fell off quickly after that, but like Dwight's numbers for that series, it was like 26 and 14. I'm not even exaggerating that one. So yeah, I guess I do end up on the cynical side of Harden. But he's got a lot of time to do this, and I'll say it right now. I've been thinking about like the Western Conference standings, and granted it changes every damn day with me. I have kind of talked myself into Houston as like a potential 1 seed because, okay, we can have a lot of conversations about Harden and Westbrook and the fit, and all that's going to come up in the playoffs. But in terms of just winning regular season games, I think they'd be pretty good. And that'll put you in a great position to go on a run. And there's conversations about a lot of teams in the West. How good really are the Nuggets? Lakers depth? Clippers health? So yeah, the West is going to be really tough, but Houston does have an opportunity to make a run and potentially win the finals. So if that's going to happen, Harden's going to be amazing, and we'll see if he does it.